show. Touchdown, Notre Dame. That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks, to a 5 things I would change about Notre Dame recruiting if I had the power to do so. Edition of the Always Irish Show. As always, thank you for being here. You can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps me as well. Notifications on. You and I both know why. That way you're alerted every time a new episode drops. You don't want to miss it. Twitter. Search bar. Always Irish Rat. Always Irish Inc. Emails. Always Irish at Indeed. I can't even get it out anymore. Always Irish ND at gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want me. You can give me the call-in lines. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Fighting Irish Wire. Booty-doo-doo-doo. You type them words in the computer. Notre Dame stories come out of it. It's amazing how that works. Don't you dare forget. July 9th, Sam Hartman's first public Notre Dame NIL autograph signing. Forever Young Sports Cards in Crown Point, Indiana. Sponsored by yours truly. We're going to have a great day, everybody. Come hang out, talk Notre Dame, kind of an unofficial ramp up into the season. Get yourself an autograph, throw some bags, talk about the Irish visit. ForeverYoungSportsCards.com for further details in ticketing informations. All right. Recruiting. You needed to win. You needed to win. You needed to win big. You needed to win big. And with very, very few exceptions, the teams that have the best players usually win a lot. Like wasn't it Frank Leahy who said, I believe it was Frank, even back in his day, said, it's amazing. With Frank's humor, it was amazing. Frank had the perfect sense of humor, and he said, it's amazing that I'm noticing how much better my prayers work when our players are bigger, faster, and stronger than the other teams. Right? Like that's what I'm talking about. Like, that's literally something Leahy said in jest, saying that it was amazing. His football prayers got answered when he had bigger, faster, stronger players. All right? With very few exceptions, the teams with the most talent win the most games and the championships, all right? You could point to outliers if you want the last 10 or 12 years. If there's an outlier in overall talent, I guarantee there is the best quarterback in the country on that team. And so you got to account for that too. If you want to go off the reservation on the overall recruiting, teams that win, if there's outliers, I guarantee you they had the best quarterback around. Trevor Lawrence is one of them. Going all the way back to Cam Newton was another one. So if you're not going to have that overall talent, you got to have the best quarterback around. So talent. I'm not open to anybody who says that isn't the most important thing. It is. That being said, and noting Notre Dame's constant struggle to land elite guys, this topic's very simple. If I was in charge, meaning head of the board of trustees or Notre Dame's athletic director, but if he was actually empowered to make decisions, it didn't have to go to the board. If I was in charge and had the power and control, here's 5 things I'd change about Notre Dame's recruiting operation. And I'm going to start by saying this. Nothing on my list we are going to go over is going to denigrate or lessen or make less worth of the Notre Dame education and degrees that so many people have and they're proud of and that make them successful and appealing in the business world. I would never do that to Notre Dame, okay? So I want to get that clear. Nothing on my bullet point list is going to negatively impact the reputation or credibility of the Notre Dame degree. Your earning potential over a career, your reputation, the reputation of the degree, nothing on my list is going to affect that stuff. So I am stopping people right now that are going to hear my list and go, oh, John, you just want us to be like everybody else. I thought you wanted to be different, John. You didn't want to be a football factory and all that. Yeah, you're right. But the reality is there is a huge difference between where Notre Dame's at now with how they do things and things that would need to happen to get to the point where I say, all right, is our degree worth what it used to be? Like, what are we doing here? What are our values? We're coming off kind of bad looking here or, lower quality. What are we doing? There is a huge gap in between those where I think Notre Dame could operate to be more competitive elitely in football without tarnishing that degree and the reputation and all that. It isn't all or nothing. I hate when people make it seem like you got to do pay for play and let criminals run the football team and all that, or have a bunch of dorks with my body type and straight A's playing on the football team, and then you're not winning anything. Sometimes I feel like those are the extremes. There's so much room in the middle to wiggle around and to do stuff. That's where I want Notre Dame to be. Somewhere in that gap between how they do it now and the point where it starts making you question things. There's a lot of wiggle room in the middle there. That's what I'm asking for. Nothing that's going to denigrate that degree. Nothing like that. Okay? So, that being said, I got 5 of these and then a couple extra credit ones I'm going to throw in. Number 1, just a little bit more slack in grades for high school recruits. Not a lot, just a little. Urban Meyer, when he interviewed for the Notre Dame job, I believe he asked for 8 academic bends a year, and Notre Dame said no. Okay? So I'm not asking for a lot. Give me a little more slack in the grades and the test scores for high school guys so that Notre Dame could cast a little bigger net for talent. That's all I'm asking for. Not enough where it starts causing problems and guys can't even get through their first class at college. Nope. There's a big middle ground there to operate. Okay? I don't think all Notre Dame fans realize exactly what we are up against. All over the country at a lot of these football factories, it's literally players who never have to go to class. They get paid to play football. They have fake degrees if they're around to graduate. Many of them cannot read or write. I'm just telling you. That's what you're up against. Football factories. You go there and your job is to play football. What book are you studying? The playbook. That is it. All right? That sets them up ahead of Notre Dame already. Because those athletes just do not have as much to worry about as Notre Dame. All right? I give this story all the time of a kid I know being recruited by the Big Ten in the early 2000s. And he took a recruiting visit to the most elite Northern power in the early 2000s. So in the Big Ten, use your brain on who it might be. You didn't need no. Come on, man. They said, "What? You pick a degree and it'll all be worked out at the end. We'll make sure you have it. Study the playbook. You're here to be a football player. We'll take care of all the academics. Pick a degree off this binder and you'll have that if you're here long enough to get it. You're here to play football. That's what's up." Okay? That dynamic makes life harder for Notre Dame players. And I'm not saying I want us to be that, but you got to understand what we're up against. So much of our thought is Notre Dame. You got to know what it's like, what you're up against too. So give me just a little bit more slack on grades. Tony Rice, by the way, the last quarterback to win a championship here, he didn't have the traditional grades to get into Notre Dame, but there was the legal exemption and the stuff they did back then through legislation that ended up having him get in there. Everything was fine, won a championship, and he's one of the best stewards Notre Dame could ever have as far as pushing our values, talk about Notre Dame stuff, and being a good representative in the community and everything you want out of a Notre Dame grad Tony Rice had. He shouldn't have got into Notre Dame. You're not going to degrade the Notre Dame degree by letting a few more football players a year get in. You're not. Stop clutching your pearls over it. That's not going to do anything to lower the Notre Dame degree's worth. Get over yourself. You know, this holier than thou thing that everybody says why they don't like Notre Dame people is the holier than thou attitude. This is that. This is that. So get over yourself. You could let a few more guys in on each side of the ball every year with a little more academic leeway without ruining everybody's degree. Oh, we let a guy in that maybe couldn't get in. Oh my God, now my law degree is worthless and none of my clients want to hire me. Get over yourself. That's not a risk. Just a little bit of bend, and then you build in an extra guardrail of, if you're one of these guys, we're letting you in on one of these little bends, you got to do extra academics, extra tutoring, extra checking in to make sure you're caught up and don't fall behind and in the classroom and need help or whatever. There are things you could do to have a little more flexibility. I'm not asking for a lot. Just a little would make a big difference in terms of the net Notre Dame could cast out to gather recruits. Okay? Tony Rice is such a great example. Any of you going to say Tony Rice isn't a Notre Dame man, wasn't smart enough, shouldn't have been here? Nobody was complaining when he won a championship for us. So remember, Notre Dame's original mission was to educate these poor Irish Catholic immigrants so they might have a chance in the new world. It's amazing what 100 years does, right? Like, that used to be the mission. Now the mission is you got to be a genius and your dad's got to donate a bunch or you ain't getting in here. It's amazing what 100 years will do. But it would do Notre Dame some good to honor that original mission. And then I also always say this. The Notre Dame degree, all the clout, the ROI on getting a Notre Dame degree, your overall revenue, a lifetime income revenue, all the benefits that Notre Dame degree provides so many people. You all need to understand and accept none of it would exist without elite football success. All those law degrees that mean so much and get you these jobs and whatever else. Nope. Without elite football success, that would not be the case. Without elite football success, Notre Dame would be a small private school by a lake somewhere nobody cares about. Okay? So now that you have that worldwide and national clout, you do not then get to turn a switch to be a highfalutin and look down on football and not put it in a position to be elite anymore. That offends me to my core. Turning your back on what made the place great. And it wasn't nerds in a building doing math equations. It was elite football kicking the shit out of people. It bothers me that we're getting away from that. So number one, give me a little bit more slack in grades or a handful of exemptions a year and then monitor them tightly to make sure they're on track. And if they aren't, they could go somewhere else, but at least you tried. And you're also doing Notre Dame's original mission then, giving some guys like Tony Rice the opportunity to be Notre Dame guys out in the world that normally wouldn't. I thought that's what we were all about, be given opportunities and this and that. I'm sick of the pearl clutching with that kind of stuff. It's not going to ruin your degree to let a football player in there doesn't get straight A's. Number two relates to number one, undergraduate transfers. Make it more doable. Make it more reasonable. Again, Notre Dame's full of all these smart, creative people and all that. Somebody can create an extra track or path for, again, a small group of guys to be able to get in as sophomores that want to come to Notre Dame and all that and get them on a track to get caught up with the class credits or whatever they need to do. Maybe their first summer, they got to do more, whatever it is. Whatever it is, Notre Dame needs to make it more feasible for undergraduate players to transfer in. Again, quit clutching your pearls, get off your high horse, and realize why anybody cares about this place at all. Give it a little bit of flexibility here. Okay? Notre Dame's not going to be able to compete in a world where everybody else can pull 20 guys out of the portal and fill a need or whatever, and Notre Dame can't do anything but regular recruiting that's already hard enough. It's a bad dynamic for Notre Dame. So that's number 2. Create a better undergraduate transfer in path and then create safety guardrails to make sure they stay on track. And if they don't, they know what's expected of them. And if they don't, they're gone. But at least you're giving the opportunity to more guys to become Notre Dame men. Number 3, NIL needs to be big and bold, not a dirty little secret. All right. 4 for 40 is out. These guys want money now, and they're not thinking 4 for 40 anyways. They're thinking 3 in the NFL. That's the top level guys' mentality. Start bringing up dollars. Instead of the 4 for 40, bring up money talks. Show the ROI of a Notre Dame degree compared to everybody else in major college football. So I would change the messaging there. 4 for 40, these guys don't want to be there 4 years. They want to go to the NFL after 3, and those are the players I want us to get more of. 4 for 40 don't get it done when they want 3 in the NFL for the 5-star elite of the elite guys. Oh, John, do you know the numbers? Such a small percentage that's realistic for. I didn't ask if it was realistic. I asked what they think and how a 17-year-old operates. Those are different realities. So don't give me the stat. Oh, do you know only a small percentage of those guys even make it to? Yeah, I know that. But they're all convinced they're going to be the next one. And that's not a 4 for 40 message. That's a 3 for me going to the league message. Start bringing up the dollars. How much a Notre Dame graduate makes overall compared to anybody else or something. Start bringing up the numbers. But I'm getting sick of Notre Dame acting like NIL is a dirty little thing and it's still illegal to do. And I just get the feeling they want to do NIL, but keep it quiet. And I hate it. I hate that. I think that's awful. I want Notre Dame starting quarterback, once he proves that he's elite or very good, I want him to have Range Rover deals. I want him to have Mercedes deals. I want CJ Carr to be good, and then I'm driving in Chicago and I see him on a billboard and it says, I'm CJ Carr, Notre Dame starting quarterback. The next time you need a car, come to whatever. And he's leaning on a Range Rover or Mercedes or something. Notre Dame could be amazing at NIL. Maybe the best big-time college football team doing it if they wanted to. There's money there. There's a network there. There's connections there. If they want to. Doesn't seem like they want to. It's a dirty little word. I'm telling you, I know how this group operates. They realize you have to do it to compete, but they kind of want to keep it quiet and out of the public. I ain't for that, man. These guys need bigger deals than local South Bend stuff. Get serious. Get into Chicago. Get into Indianapolis. I'm looking bigger than little mom and pop deals to get some ribs for the O-line in South Bend. That's not what I have in mind. I have in mind luxury car deals for our best players. And there's nothing wrong with it. You're not sacrificing your values to do it. None of that stuff. Money talks. Notre Dame could make NIL work for them so great, but they just seem averse to it for some reason. And when I hear about all the good stuff they are doing with it, it's why is it all behind the scenes? But I hear about all the great NIL stuff everybody else is doing, but ours is behind the scenes. There's only one reason for that. It's because they're clutching their pearls and they don't even want it to seem like these guys could get money to play here or something. Loser, antiquated attitude. And again, pay for play is different than NIL. I'm not asking for pay for play, but I'm asking for great NIL that makes it worth it to wait a little bit and not get paid for play to then get those benefits. There's so much more Notre Dame could be doing on that they're not. Number 4, facilities. Modern. I want guys and their families to feel like they're going to be taken care of very, very, very well. Now, I want to be clear. They don't have to be renovated every 2 years. You don't have to spend the most money in the country on the goog in the locker room and luxuries, and every guy gets a hot tub, and a sauna and 3 ladies in bikinis. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. It doesn't have to be the fanciest, but I think it should be a little more robust than what we have right now as far as the impressive factor. And here's why. Even if you wanted to argue that practically our guys have all they need, it's those facilities that a family and a player or whatever go and see when they're on a recruiting visit. That is a direct informational line and link that tells you just how invested the school is in football. That leaves an impression. Notre Dame's are fine. I'm not saying they're not. I want more than that, though. It is an indicator of how serious the administration thinks about football, how those facilities are, how many luxuries you got, how fancy it is, all the extra stuff. Those are all indicators of buy-in from the top. That's why it matters. I could argue it's almost more perceptual than it is practical of I got a massage chair in my locker or whatever. That kind of stuff gives a clear indicator of football buy-in. That's what I'm saying. I don't need us to be on the top level or whatever, but I think it should be more modern than it is. And it would help a little bit of selling. We really are invested in eliteness here. Number 5, attitude shift. Attitude shift. Notre Dame needs more killers. We got too many nice guys around Notre Dame football, and nice guys just don't win a lot of titles. I need at least some balance of guys that are ready to kill people, and I need a lot more of them. I'm sorry. You don't win titles in the modern era with a bunch of nice guys out there. I need some guys that borderline have a screw loose that are out there to knock somebody's head off with that Neanderthal gene. You need that. No team wins titles anymore without having a percentage of that. Where are those guys on Notre Dame's team, those killers? Zorich, Stonebreaker, the guys that have a killing gene. Too many guys at Notre Dame are too nice. I've been saying that forever. I don't see the same desire to inflict pain and win at all costs out of Notre Dame football that I see out of other operations. Okay? Too many nice guys around here. I need some bad boys with some attitude, with some swag, playing right on the borderline of like, is this guy sane or what's going on here? You need those guys to win. And the last time Notre Dame won anything, they had a bunch of those guys, by the way. Way too many nice guys on Notre Dame's team. And sometimes that degree and the ROI and everything, I'm convinced it actually hurts Notre Dame. Because a lot of our guys, it's like, well, we have a few losses. Like, I don't need to push it out there. I'll graduate, become an accountant, go to law school. I'm going to be just fine. Football isn't the priority for our guys the way it is for a lot of other guys at other schools, where they feel like if I don't win here and go to the NFL, I don't really have much going for me in my life. Notre Dame guys don't have that pressure. So sometimes I do see a different level of buy-in of like, we better win this game and I better knock this guy's face off. So I need an attitude shift, and I need to start seeing some more mean guys at Notre Dame. And I realize that's tough because it's not the Notre Dame way. Family and kind of chill out and call like the old Notre Dame Catholic thing and a good little boy and all that. I get it. You ain't winning anything without some mean guys on your football team. You're not. I need more mean guys at Notre Dame. Respectful, treat people the right way off the field. I need all that. But on the field, I need that switch to go off into kill mode. Need more of it. All right. So those are my 5. A little more slack in undergraduate grades. Undergraduate transfers, make a track for that. Big and bold with NIL instead of this weak coward stuff we're doing now, where we have pretty decent NIL, but nobody's allowed to hear about it, and it's behind the scenes. Get over yourself, Notre Dame. You're not holier than thou, okay? Facilities, a little more modern just because of the messaging. It affirms buy-in and investment, okay? And then attitude shift. 2 more things I'll add as special ones. Plan Bs. And what I mean by that is Notre Dame has not been doing a good job. This goes for the Kelly era too, of you got your main guys you're going after in recruiting, and if you don't get them, then it's a panic and you don't have a pivot, a guy to go to with not a lot of drop-off to fill that spot. That's how you end up with 17 guys in a recruiting class. Or the last couple weeks of a cycle, you're taking guys nobody's heard of. They don't even have a star ranking, or it's a whatever. You got to be better with plan Bs so that when you don't get your home run, you got a great plan B everybody can live with. They need to be better at that. And then one more extra I'll throw in here. Shorter assistant coach leashes. Okay, here's what I mean by that. If you're not an elite recruiter, you better be an elite developer. And if you're not, you're gone after 1 year. See ya, I got no use for you. I need a shorter leash on assistants that aren't getting the job done. If you are not an elite recruiter, you need to be an elite developer to give us value, or you're not going to be here. One and done. Like, I'm sorry. You got to be hopefully both or one or the other. But if I got guys that aren't either, you got to have a shorter leash to cut bait on those guys. If they're not carrying their weight in recruiting and they're not developing guys more quickly than anybody else, what are you getting out of them then? Average, just blah? Freeman's not going to get over the hump doing it that way. So I want a shorter leash on some of this. It's either got to be elite recruiting, elite development, both, or you're out of here fast. I'm not waiting a few years to end up with the wide receiver room the way it did. Right? Like that's how that happens. You keep letting it go, and then you end up with no wide receivers. And then it takes you years to dig out of that mess. No. Ain't nobody got time for that, and I don't. So if it was up to me, those are some things I'd do right away, and I am certain I'd be able to navigate all of them without denigrating the Notre Dame reputation and degree. I would be able to do all of these things without ruining anything anybody on the academic side love about Notre Dame. It just has to be thought about and put together the right way with genuine intentions and delivery. This stuff isn't hard to do. Notre Dame's making life harder on themselves by choice because of holier-than-thou pearl clutching. And that's a rough way to succeed at college football with an admin that operates that way. But that's what I see. All right. Let me know what I got right. Let me know what I got wrong. Put me in charge of this, and I'll figure all of it out. I'll have programs for all this stuff. I'll find the right people to put the guardrails in place. That I would create a whole new thing to get guys in there and present it as giving them a chance to be Notre Dame men. Use Chris Zorich as and Tony Rice as leaders in that. Man, there's so much flexibility Notre Dame has. No one's willing to even think about or go there. It's a shame. So those are the changes I would make. What do you guys think? Let me know.